Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. We're diving into the iQOO Neo 10 smartphone today.
Oh yeah, this one looks pretty interesting.
I've got a ton of reviews and articles right here.
I've been looking over some of them too, and this phone is making some big promises.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to figure out. Is it all hype, or is this phone the real deal? You know, we want to go beyond just the spec sheet and figure out if it's really worth your attention.
Yeah, because on paper it looks amazing, but
Exactly.
does it actually deliver?
We've got some pretty crazy specs to cover.
Yeah, like that processor.
Oh yeah, the processor is insane. We're talking crazy fast speeds.
And the display refresh rate? I mean, come on, that's got to be some kind of gimmick, right?
Well, we'll see about that.
And then there's a charging speed.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like ridiculously fast.
Almost too good to be true.
Yeah, gotta be some kind of catch, right?
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with first impressions.
Okay, so what's the first thing you noticed about the iQOO Neo 10?
The design is sleek and modern, for sure. Yeah, they got some pretty cool color options, too.
Oh yeah, definitely black, white, and this really vibrant orange.
I'm kind of digging that orange one.
Yeah, it pops. But what really impressed me is how thin it is.
Oh, yeah.
Only 8 millimeters.
Wow, that is thin, especially with that huge battery they're packing in there.
Right, that's what I thought. You wouldn't expect it to be so slim.
So good design, slim profile. What about the display?
All right, so the display, it's a 6.78-inch LTPO AMOLED screen.
Okay, so that's like top of the line stuff, right?
Top of the line. It means you're getting incredible sharpness, power efficiency, and super responsiveness.
I bet those colors just pop.
Oh yeah, and with a resolution of 1260 by 2800 and HDR10 plus support.
You know, those specs are one thing, but like when you're actually looking at the screen,
Yeah,
how is it?
everything looks amazing. From streaming shows to your own photos.
Yeah,
It's like having a mini movie theater in your pocket.
nice. So you're saying it lives up to the hype?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now there's one more thing we got to talk about with the display. The 144 hertz refresh rate.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. I was like, really? 144 hertz? What is this, a gaming monitor?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, right? But what does it actually mean for the average person who just wants to scroll through Instagram or play a game?
That's the big question.
Does it actually make that much of a difference?
I mean, it sounds impressive, but does it translate to real-world use?
All right, so basically a higher refresh rate means the screen updates more frequently.
Okay,
So everything feels smoother,
I see.
from scrolling through social media to playing games.
So like less of that stuttering and lag when you're scrolling.
Exactly. And you know that annoying blur you sometimes get when things move quickly on a screen?
Oh yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, that's basically gone.
Wow. So it actually does make a difference.
Oh yeah, especially for gamers.
Especially for those fast-paced action games.
Absolutely. It gives them a competitive edge and makes the whole experience more immersive.
So not just a marketing gimmick then.
Nope, it's the real deal.
All right, so we've covered the design and the display.
Now let's get into the brains of this phone.
The powerhouse.
The performance. We're talking about the iQOO Neo 10's processor.
Lay it on me.
All right, so this phone packs the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset.
Okay, so that's a big deal, right?
Huge deal. It's built on a 4mm process.
And that means?
It means it's super efficient.
Yep.
It's also got an octa-core CPU
Okay.
and the Adreno 750 GPU.
Okay. I feel like we're getting a little too technical here.
Yeah, it's a lot of jargon.
What does it all mean for someone who just wants to open apps quickly and play games without lag?
Basically, it means this phone is a beast.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
It can handle anything you throw at it. Multitasking, demanding apps.
So no more waiting for things to load.
Exactly. It's built for speed and efficiency.
Future-proofed as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And on top of that,
There's more.
this phone comes with a crazy amount of RAM and storage.
Okay, let's hear it.
We're talking 12 GB to 16 GB of RAM.
Whoa, that's a lot of RAM.
And storage options from 256 GB all the way up to 1 TB.
Okay, now that's just showing off.
And get this, they've even upgraded the storage to UFS 4.0, which can be boosted to UFS 4.1.
Okay, I'm officially lost. UFS what?
I know it's a lot of technical stuff.
Yeah, break it down for me. What does all that mean for the average person?
Think of RAM as your phone's short-term memory. The more RAM you have, the more apps you can have open at the same time without your phone slowing down.
Okay, that makes sense.
And UFS 4.0, 4.1, that's like a super fast highway for all your data. Apps load faster, files transfer in a snap. It basically makes everything feel super snappy.
So basically this phone is a multitasking beast.
Absolutely.
All right, but let's be real here. Most of us use our phones for taking pictures.
True. So how does the iQOO Neo 10 hold up in the camera department?
Yeah, does it live up to all those other impressive specs?
Let's find out. It has a dual camera setup on the back.
Okay.
A 50 MP wide lens with optical image stabilization. OIS.
OIS, that's good, right?
Oh yeah, super important for keeping your shots steady.
Especially in low light.
Exactly. And then there's an 8 MP ultra-wide lens with a 119-degree field of view.
So you can get those really wide shots.
Yep, perfect for landscapes or group photos.
Yeah.
Now in a world of triple and quad camera systems.
Yeah, it feels like everyone's adding more and more cameras.
Is a dual camera setup still enough to satisfy those photography enthusiasts out there?
Yeah, I mean, megapixels aren't everything, but
Yeah.
is 2 cameras enough these days?
Well, the reviews seem to indicate that the camera is solid. But we'll dive into that a bit more later on.
Okay, sounds good. What about selfies? What's the front-facing camera like?
So for all you selfie lovers out there,
Gotta keep those Instagram feeds fresh.
you've got a 16 MP front camera.
Okay, so that should be pretty good.
Yeah, more than capable of capturing some high-quality selfies.
All right, so we've got a powerful processor, tons of RAM, a decent camera setup.
But all that power's got to drain the battery quickly, right?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It seems like you'd need to charge this thing constantly.
Well, not necessarily. The iQOO Neo 10 has a massive 6100 mAh battery,
Okay, that is massive.
much larger than many other flagship phones.
So you're saying it could actually last a whole day?
Potentially even with heavy use.
Now that's impressive.
But wait, there's more.
Oh no, there's more.
This phone supports 120W fast charging.
Okay, wait, hold on. 120 watts.
120 watts. That means you can go from 0 to 100% charge in just 30 minutes.
What?
Seriously, 30 minutes. That's barely enough time to make a cup of coffee.
I mean, that's insane. I've never heard of a phone charging that fast.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
You could literally plug it in for a few minutes and be good to go.
Exactly.
So this phone charges at the speed of light.
Pretty much. But we've talked a lot about the hardware.
The nuts and bolts.
What about the software experience?
Yeah, what's it like to actually use this thing?
So the iQOO Neo 10 runs on Origin OS 5.
Origin OS. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's based on Android 15.
Oh, okay, so it's still Android.
Yeah, but with iQOO's own custom skin.
So what's unique about Origin OS? How does it compare to other Android interfaces?
It's all about giving you more control and making your phone work for you.
Okay, so it's customizable.
Highly customizable. You can tweak the look and feel of your home screen and how you interact with apps.
Interesting. So it's not just about looks then?
Not at all.
Right.
It's about making the phone smarter and more intuitive.
Can you give me some examples?
Sure, it's got some cool features like behavioral wallpapers that change based on how you use your phone,
That's pretty cool.
and atomic components that let you create custom shortcuts and workflows.
Wow, so you can really personalize it.
Exactly.
So Origin OS is kind of like a whole new way to experience Android.
Yeah, it's definitely a fresh take.
All right, so we've covered design, display, performance, camera, battery, and even the software.
But we can't wrap things up without talking about connectivity.
Yeah. How does this thing connect to the world?
Well, it seems like the iQOO Neo 10 has every connectivity option you could imagine.
Okay, let's hear it.
We're talking GSM, HSPA, LTE, 5G.
Well, all the cellular standards?
Yep. And then there's Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.4, NFC.
Wi-Fi 7, that's the latest standard, right?
It is.
That's impressive.
Even an infrared port, which is a bit of a throwback.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those in a while.
And for security, you've got an under-display ultrasonic fingerprint sensor.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, anything in that list that really jumps out at you.
I mean, Wi-Fi 7 is a big deal, right?
Definitely. It's the latest and greatest Wi-Fi standard, promising crazy fast speeds and lower latency than previous generations.
So no more buffering when you're streaming 4K videos.
Exactly. And that ultrasonic fingerprint sensor.
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
It's much more secure and harder to fool than the optical sensors we've seen in other phones.
Really? How so?
It uses sound waves to map your fingerprint in 3D.
Wow. So it's like a 3D scan of your fingerprint.
Pretty much.
So that's harder to trick than just a 2D image.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We've gone through the design, the display, the performance, the camera, the battery, the software, and even the connectivity.
It's a lot to take in.
But we're just getting started.
Wait, there's more.
Oh yeah, we've still got a lot more to discuss about the iQOO Neo 10.
Like what?
In part 2, we're going to dig deeper into what all this means for you and really analyze if this phone is worth your hard-earned money.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So stay tuned. Welcome back to the deep dive. So we've gone through all the features and specs of the iQOO Neo 10.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive list.
But now I want to know, What does all this actually mean for the average user?
Right, like, does all this tech translate into real-world benefits?
That's the big question. We're not just talking about benchmarks and numbers here. We're talking about the actual experience of using this phone.
Yeah, like, will people actually notice the difference with that 144 hertz refresh rate or the crazy fast charging speeds?
Exactly. So let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What does the iQOO Neo 10 say about the current state of the smartphone market?
Well, I think it represents a growing trend of offering a premium experience without the premium price tag.
Okay, so you're saying this phone is a good deal.
I think so. It seems like iQOO is trying to bridge the gap between those super expensive flagship phones and the more affordable mid-range options.
So it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, kind of. You get a lot of the high-end features without having to break the bank.
But is it really a flagship killer, as some reviewers are calling it?
That's a good question. I mean, there have to be some compromises, right?
Exactly. No phone is perfect.
It really depends on what you're looking for in a phone. If your top priority is having the absolute best camera system or the most luxurious design materials, there might be other phones out there that do a slightly better job in those specific areas.
Makes sense.
But if raw performance, a beautiful display, and super fast charging are at the top of your list, then this phone definitely punches above its weight class.
I'm starting to see the appeal. It seems like iQOO has managed to find a good balance between high-end features and affordability.
Exactly. And that's what makes this phone so interesting. It's not trying to be the best in every single category.
But it excels in the areas that matter most to a lot of people.
Yeah, like that 144 hertz refresh rate.
Oh yeah, that's the thing I keep coming back to. We talked about the technical side of things, but I'm having trouble picturing what that actually looks like in real-world use.
Right, like what does 144 hertz actually feel like?
Yeah. Can you help me visualize it?
Imagine scrolling through your Twitter feed and every tweet just glides smoothly across the screen. No stuttering, no lag, or picture playing a game, and every movement, every animation is crisp and fluid.
Just like butter?
Smoother than butter. It elevates the whole experience.
I bet that's a game changer for gamers.
Absolutely. Gamers are going to love the reduced motion blur and the increased responsiveness.
It gives them a competitive edge.
And makes the whole experience more immersive.
And let's not forget about that incredible battery and charging combo.
Oh yeah, that's a game changer for sure.
It's like a portable power station in your pocket.
The combination of that large 6100 mAh battery and 120W fast charging really is remarkable.
I mean, you can literally charge your phone in the time it takes to brush your teeth.
It completely changes the way we think about battery life. You're no longer tethered to a wall outlet or constantly worrying about your battery dying.
I can already see how that would change my daily routine.
No more scrambling for a charger before you head out the door.
Exactly. You can just top up your battery in a few minutes and be good to go.
It's amazing how quickly technology is evolving.
Yeah, it really feels like science fiction is becoming reality.
Speaking of futuristic technology,
we
talked about Origin OS earlier, but I'm curious to learn more. What makes it so unique compared to other Android interfaces?
It's all about customization and control. Origin OS gives you the power to tweak every aspect of your phone's look and feel.
Okay, so it's like a super customizable version of Android.
Yeah, but goes beyond just aesthetics. It also has some really smart features like those behavioral wallpapers that change based on your usage patterns.
Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And the atomic components, which let you create your own personalized shortcuts and workflows.
So you can really tailor it to your own needs.
Exactly. It's not just a pretty face. It's actually quite intelligent.
Origin OS sounds like a really interesting take on Android.
It is. And it shows that iQOO is thinking outside the box when it comes to software.
Now, what about those connectivity features we talked about?
Oh, yeah. Wi-Fi 7 and the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor.
Can you break those down a bit further for us?
Sure. Wi-Fi 7 is the next generation of Wi-Fi, and it's going to be incredibly fast.
How fast are we talking?
We're talking about significantly faster speeds, lower latency, and better overall network performance compared to the Wi-Fi we use today.
So like downloading a movie in seconds?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow, that's impressive. And what about that ultrasonic fingerprint sensor?
So unlike optical sensors, which can sometimes be tricked by 2D images,
right,
ultrasonic sensors use sound waves to create a highly detailed 3D map of your fingerprint.
So it's like a 3D scan of your finger.
Exactly. That makes them much more secure and reliable.
Makes sense. It's like a futuristic security system for your phone.
It's pretty cool technology.
So it sounds like iQOO really thought of everything with this phone.
They packed a lot of cutting-edge tech into this device.
But is it the perfect phone for everyone?
That's a great question. And that's what we're going to explore in Part 3. We'll take a look at the potential downsides, weigh the pros and cons, and ultimately help you decide if the iQOO Neo 10 is the right phone for you.
Okay, I'm ready for the verdict.
Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've spent a lot of time exploring the iQOO Neo 10.
Yeah, we've gone over all the good stuff.
But now it's time to get real. Is this the right phone for you?
That's the million-dollar question.
We've seen all the bells and whistles.
The impressive specs, the innovative features.
But every phone has its drawbacks, right?
Exactly. No phone is perfect.
So let's talk about some potential downsides of the iQOO Neo 10.
All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
What are the trade-offs here?
Well, one thing to consider is that the iQOO Neo 10 doesn't have a headphone jack.
Yeah, that's a bummer for some people.
So if you're still rocking those wired headphones,
Yeah.
you'll need to use a USB-C adapter.
It seems like more and more phones are ditching the headphone jack these days.
Yeah, it's a trend I'm not sure I'm a fan of.
Me neither. But it's definitely something to consider if you're someone who still prefers that wired connection.
Another thing to keep in mind is that there's no expandable storage.
So you're stuck with the amount of storage you choose when you buy the phone.
Right. The phone does come with a lot of storage options, 256 GB all the way up to 1 TB.
Yeah, it's a lot of storage.
But some people might prefer the flexibility of adding an SD card if they need more space down the line.
Okay, so no headphone jack and no expandable storage. What else?
Well, the camera system, while being pretty good,
Yeah.
it might not be the absolute best in its class.
You're saying it's not a professional-grade camera?
Not quite. The main lens does have OIS, which is great for stability. But that dual camera setup might not be enough for serious photography enthusiasts.
So if someone's looking for telephoto lenses or super advanced shooting modes,
Yeah, they might want to look elsewhere.
but for everyday use in social media.
It should be more than capable.
All right, so let's recap. We've got a super fast phone with a beautiful display and crazy fast charging.
We've got innovative software and a solid camera.
But no headphone jack, no expandable storage, and the camera might not satisfy the most demanding photographers.
It's a tough decision.
It is. So how do we decide if the iQOO Neo 10 is the right phone for us?
I think it comes down to priorities.
Priorities.
Yeah, like what are the most important features to you in a smartphone?
Okay, I see.
If you're someone who values performance speed and a smooth user experience,
Yeah.
and you're okay with those trade-offs,
The headphone jack, the storage.
then the iQOO Neo 10 is definitely worth considering.
So it's a phone for people who want the latest and greatest tech.
Without spending a fortune.
But for people who are still on the fence, what are some key questions they should ask themselves?
Okay, good question. I would say start with the headphone jack. How important is it to you?
Okay.
Do you need expandable storage?
Okay.
Are you a professional photographer who needs top-of-the-line camera quality?
So think about your needs and priorities.
Exactly. And of course, consider your budget.
Right, because at the end of the day...
It's all about finding the phone that fits your individual needs and budget.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the iQOO Neo 10.
A lot of information.
But hopefully we've helped you make a more informed decision.
Whether this phone is right for you or not.
And maybe spark some interesting thoughts about the future of smartphones.
Yeah, like that super fast charging.
It's definitely changing the way we use our phones.
It makes you wonder if we'll become even more attached to our devices.
Food for thought.
Definitely.
But that's all the time we have for today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
As always, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the iQOO Neo 10? Head over to our social media pages and let us know. And if you have any other burning tech questions you'd like us to deep dive into,
send them our way.
We're always up for a challenge.
Until next time.
Stay curious.